Welcome to Archive Obscura. Please help us bring you more of this type of content by...
People inside the farmhouses are under federal indictment. They seem more than ready, more now than ever, to provoke some sort of confrontation. They have broken off talks with the FBI, breaking good faith negotiated solutions with Colorado Senator Charles Duke acting as middleman. They're not talking any longer with the FBI. Duke and others say that the FBI has gone the extra mile with them. And frankly, these are just, in my opinion, dishonorable men. That's what I've been telling you right along. In the beginning of this whole thing, we talked about the Freemen. There was at that time a very great deal of support for them. That has slipped significantly. I took a lot of heat for that, a lot of letters, a lot of email, calling me a traitor, calling me not a patriot at best and a traitor at worst because I was coming to the conclusion that these were not honorable people. These were not honorable people. These were people hiding behind all sorts of veneers. The veneer of the Constitution, as they were using it. The veneer of federal courts that they wanted convened in their own behalf. Demands they continually made. And then were, in many cases, met, and these so-called honorable men turned right around and broke their agreement. To me, since the beginning, I'm looking at criminals who are trying to hold themselves up as some sort of David Koresh, some sort of martyrs. These are people that Bogrites and others believe are holding, among others, women and children as virtual hostages. Even Senator Duke said he was unable to talk to about 10 members inside. Bogrite said he thought it was indeed possible some were being held against their will. This is no Waco. These people are hiding behind the word patriot, misusing the term militia. These are criminals, as far as I'm concerned, now hiding behind skirts and the bodies of children. So I've about had it, and my guess would be the FBI has about had it too. The Freemen, so-called, earlier today, flew the flag, American flag, upside down, an indication of distress, as you well know, and probably a sign that they figure the FBI's just about had it with them. So when talks broke off earlier today, they dispatched heavily armed patrols around the perimeter of the property. They've got 50 caliber ammunition inside. It's armor piercing, so any FBI agent that would approach on foot is in peril of his life. It would go right through the armor they might wear. There is, as I said, a convoy moving toward the ranches. Actually, late news is that convoy, whatever it contains, has now arrived in the area. And I'm betting in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm betting that this thing is going to come to a head, one way or the other. Earlier in the day, one Freeman, an ex-Marine, raised his rifle, aiming it toward the FBI at the perimeter of the property. Didn't fire, but pointed. Leroy Schweitzer and others from jail urged those remaining to hold on in there, said, quote, "The federal government has no jurisdiction. Hang in there. Don't give up. Don't change the plan." whatever the plan is. Well, the FBI is still allowing running water, and the electricity is on, and according to Senator Duke, they've got it too soft in there, and I quite agree. It's now past time, in my opinion, that the electricity was terminated, that the running water was stopped. There's an 8 and a 10-year-old, pair, 8 and 10-year-old children inside. Virtual hostages, as nearly as I can see. In the last 2 hours of the program yesterday, we did a number of debates on the Freemen. I'm sure we'll do some more of that tonight as we get into it. There may be breaking news during the night tonight, in the morning, or perhaps tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to go on very much longer. If there's anything that really gets me angry, it's people who preach ethics and honor and constitutionality and use the whole thing as a veneer and are themselves dishonest and not honorable at all. God, that gets me going. It really, really gets me going. We'll be right back. A North Korean pilot has defected to South Korea. Reports from Seoul say a North Korean MiG-19 with a single pilot at the controls flew to South Korea on Thursday, and I'm sure they're glad to see him. President Clinton is trying to shoot down a Republican plan for a costly anti-missile defense system to protect U.S. cities from foreign attack by 2003. Here, the president is totally out to lunch. That our nation has no defense against a ballistic missile, smart or dumb, and you can fire a ballistic missile just means a ballistic trajectory. You fire an arrow into the air, and it has a trajectory, ballistic trajectory, and we have no protection, you know. And if you're talking about nuclear devices, why, you only have to get close. So whether a ballistic missile tipped with a nuclear device would hit one of our cities, in the case of the more refined weapons, they would come down pretty much on target, Russian weapons, or lesser countries who are developing or buying from China systems capable of delivery of this kind of thing, that we would have no plan to stop something headed our way is absolutely insane, and I would urge the president to carefully reconsider. I can almost see the Senate hearing room, can't you? After one of our cities has gone up in nuclear smoke, the chain of witnesses who would try to explain why we had no ballistic defense whatsoever for America. I can almost see the senator questioning somebody from the administration about why this national security difficulty was allowed to arise, and why the administration did nothing, as a matter of fact, fought it the whole way. That is for those ears left alive to hear the explanation. So I have no idea why we're not doing that. Do you? All right, some updated information. Boris Yeltsin is, in fact, doing better now. and has begun to increase his lead over the communist in the race. And that's great news. That is great news, and I wanted you to know it because the likelihood, of course, was that Russians who are depressed by a country that is literally disintegrating around them still may vote for a man who will ostensibly bring some continuing reforms, and that's the only way. It's going to take time. You can't take a country in which the slogan was, we pretend to work, they pretend to pay us, communism. You can't take that and convert it immediately. They have so many problems. Industrial pollution at a rate we cannot understand. 1 out of every 3 children with something wrong with it, born with something wrong, from pollution, from poverty, from horrible conditions that would have long ago caused a revolution in this country. The American people certainly would not put up with the kind of conditions the Russians have. They are, in fact, a very patient people, and hopefully prepared to go on toward the path of reform and capitalism, painful as it may be. I am indeed looking forward to seeing a Moscow. For those of you that don't know it, we obtained yesterday what is purported to be a picture of Chupacabra, and it is horrible. And I'll bet I've taken now 200 faxes like this. Art just took a look at the picture of the Chupacabra. All I can say is that if all the women in Texas were as ugly as Chupacabra, the Lone Ranger is going to be lonely for a long time. Yes, this thing is ugly. No reflection on any Texas rose. Those are nice women down there. And it goes on and on and on. This horrible creature, whatever it is, I can certainly not tell you it is a Chupacabra. I sent a copy of the photograph to Linda Howe earlier in the day, and she called me back very excited, saying, would I ship a copy to her right away, which, a printer copy. She doesn't have a printer that'll do a good color copy. So I knocked one out and sent it to Linda Howe. She will speak with a veterinarian, and we will try and get a report for you Sunday on Dreamland. In the meantime, it's the damnedest thing you ever saw. So if you can get up to the Internet and download a photograph, the photograph we've got there, take a look. It is awesome. Whatever it is, it's awful. I don't know whether it's the, quote, goat sucker, end quote, or not, but it's awful, and it's nothing I recognize. So I think you will, the wrong word might be enjoy. I think you'll be amazed at that photograph. I've got a copy here, and my wife won't look at it. I showed it to her once. She says, get that thing away from me. And a lot of people are reacting the same way when they see it. It's absolutely shocking. So tell you what, here in a moment we'll go and we'll do open line talk radio. Oh, I do have one other little item. Remember I told you, well, you may have seen the 60 Minutes program this last week. An incredible piece that we talked about regarding the Turner Diaries, authored by Dr. Pierce. Well, guess what, folks? I have booked Dr. Pierce on the show. He'll be here Friday night in the first hour of the show, or Saturday morning, I guess, depending on when and where you get it. And they had sent me a fax back saying the doctor would like to know what you feel about his book, and I told him what I felt about his book. But I said, Doctor, what I will do for you is I will give you a fair interview. I will not come after you. I will allow you to say what you want to say, which is, I presume, what you believe, without climbing all over you, because I frankly want to get to hear what you have to say. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And under those conditions, which is no special condition for the doctor, it is exactly the way I treat my guests, we'll get an opportunity to hear what this man has to say. Why he feels the way he does about the government, about why he wrote the diaries. I really want to know. And I suspect you do too. So we will have him on Friday night or Saturday morning, as you will, and we will probe. I have to recap, the Freemen thing is looking now like it's going to come to a conclusion, violent or otherwise. Maybe they'll give up, throw up their hands, lower the American flag upside down, put up a white flag, and give up. Or maybe there's going to be a confrontation. Pray for the children. I believe at this point that these so-called honorable, constitutional, paralegal blowhards are using them as shields and using the word patriot as a shield and trying to engender the sympathies of the patriot community. Well, I've said it day after day after day, and I'm going to say it again. You better be careful how you pick your fights and who you pick them with and what kind of cause you decide you're going to lay down your life for. And you better look damn carefully at the so-called free men before you pick up arms in their defense. Because what they are people hiding behind the word patriot. Dishonorable people who claim honor. Dishonorable men who hide behind women and children. Real men, if they were going to have a fight, would send those women and children out first. That's what real men would do.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. Listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from May 22nd, 1996.
There are several things we're going to be doing through the night. This is kind of a right-on-the-money facts, I thought. It's from somebody with the initials EF. Art, I guess by now you've learned of the latest insult by our president of the armed forces. The president's legal people, and this is true, have filed a brief with the U.S. Supreme Court advising that he, the president, is claiming immunity from civil suit as provided in the UCMJ for persons in the armed services. Do you understand what this man is doing? Paula Jones is suing him, and they are going to claim the president, being commander-in-chief, is in the armed services and deserves immunity under the UCMJ. That's very interesting. I wonder if even the U.S. Supreme Court can swallow that one. The faxes continue to roll in on the Chupacabra picture. People think it's absolutely terrifying. It is. It's a terrifying picture. If you want to get a copy of it, you go up to my website at www.artbell.com. That's www.artbell.com. And then there's one last little item here, which I may decide to do. Hey, comrade, Art Bell, you blankety, typical of what I get here on the Freemen. You could at least have a real debate on the Freemen issue, not a one side against two non-debate. He's referring yesterday, I guess, to the debates I had, and frankly, I thought, and you listeners can be the ones to decide, but I thought I stayed out of the debates and rather let the people go at it. That was late in the show. Not everybody heard it. So I might do one here shortly. He goes on, why don't you find your most talented government agent, anybody who would argue that the Freemen are a bunch of no honor thugs, would, according to this man, no doubt be, would be a government agent. So I don't need a government agent to argue against the Freemen's cause, which you apparently want to argue for, and you provide a telephone number for that purpose, and I may just well take you up on it. So, Bob, wherever you are down there in Southern California, stand by. I may take you up on your offer and call you, and we'll have a debate on the subject, because it seems as though it's going to come to a head very shortly. So there you've got it. Let us begin. We do not screen calls. We don't ask you what you want to talk about before we put you on the air. We just put you on, as we now do. First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, this is Rob from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Hi there.
Yeah, I was on that Chupa Hoopa picture thing.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have any wings.
Well, no, it doesn't show wings. It doesn't mean it doesn't have them, but it doesn't show them. Do you have the photograph?
Oh, yeah.
Is that ugly or what?
Oh, it is pretty funny.
Oh, man. It's almost like I've got it here now with me. I printed out a copy, and I wouldn't want to meet that thing under any circumstances at all.
Oh, no, I got 2 dogs, and I put them out at night, but I don't know, I think they'd get him.
Try showing your dogs the photograph. See that? Oh, God, this thing is awful. You know, whether or not it is the chupacabra, it is the worst, ugliest, most evil-looking creature. I don't think I would look at that thing and say, oh, gee, one of God's creatures, you know.
No, I wonder why that they cut those 2 sections out.
Well, they explained that. They explained it in the... Did you read what came with it?
Yeah, well, I read bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, well, it said at the bottom that they cut that out because it would identify somehow the photographer, and he didn't want to be identified.
Huh.
And I don't blame him.
Yeah, well, somebody might have came hunting.
All right, my friend, thank you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yep, take care. Oh, man, that thing is ugly. So that is still up on the webpage. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yeah, good morning, Art. This is Glenn calling from Jamestown, New York.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted you to know that I have listened to many of talk shows, and I do believe beyond a reasonable doubt that you are number one. Outside of Bruce Williams, who does his financial thing.
Well, that makes me number 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's okay.
But as far as we get you from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. here in Jamestown.
Well, I'm just glad you enjoy the show.
I really do, and you have a...
What I try to do, sir, is make it diverse.
Oh, you certainly do that, and I love that Sunday night show there. What is Dreamland?
Dreamland. Yes.
Yes. We get that from, I think, between 11 and 12 in the evening.
Uh-huh.
Then, of course, we pick you up between 2 and 5 every morning. We get a rebroadcast of some show on Saturdays. But you're number one as far as I'm concerned. And how's your cat, by the way?
Comet?
Yeah.
All right. Listen on the air. I'm making great progress. Hello there. Progress with Comet. I am now able to pet him without being bitten. I consider that great progress. And I do that very cautiously. I approach him and I talk to him for a long, long time softly, and I look in his little terror-filled eyes, and I show him my hand, the front of my hand and the back of my hand, and I slowly approach his flank, and I softly pet him. Well, the first 2 or 3 days that I did that, he would sit there and shake like a leaf and hiss at me occasionally. Yesterday, for the first time, I was able to reach out and pet him on his flank, and he put his little paws down, the way a cat will, curled them under him, and relaxed, and said, this petting does not appear to be killing me. It even possibly arouses me a little. It's a beginning anyway, and it's day by day by day, for those of you who don't know. Comet is a feral cat, a totally wild cat who never even saw a human being before, who, when I say this animal is wild, that is a gross understatement. Gross understatement. This thing is as wild as they come. But there's a day-by-day change, and that I can pet him without having my flesh ripped from my body is a distinct move forward. So there's a Comet report. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Oh, good evening, Art. Wonderful program, and my cat sends his kind regards to your cat from Canada. I'm phoning from Vancouver, BC.
Oh, Vancouver.
Yes, and I listen to you on Como in Seattle.
Yes, and then do you know that on Sunday, we're on CFUN in Vancouver?
On night, Dreamland.
CFUN, yes. They run Dreamland in its entirety on Sunday now in Vancouver.
Wonderful. And do you know if they'll be running you at nighttime like you are now?
We are talking.
Oh, good. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Earlier, you had mentioned on another program that your favorite vegetable were artichokes.
As a matter of fact, I had another homegrown artichoke grown right here in the desert by my wife. It was a prize winner, gigantic. I love artichokes.
Oh, and those are the big globe ones, aren't they?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. I envy you because we don't get them here this time of year. But another artichoke family is the Jerusalem artichoke. Very delicious.
I shall consider it.
And I'll tell you one of those when you're in business because they're related to the sunflower family, and they apparently grow like a weed. And they're wonderful. They can be stored in the winter and just dig them up in the winter as you need them.
Mm-mm.
That's what I was told. And there's another thing. I was watching some TV recently about Nevada. That Area 51 is known as Dreamland.
Yes.
And they've named a highway. I've forgotten the number.
The extraterrestrial highway.
Yes. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, yes. That's right up past me. Thank you, dear. The test site is just across from me and Area 51. Oh, yes. All of that's true. Yes, I love artichokes. A lot of people think you can't grow things in the desert. Wrong. We have wonderful water, groundwater for growing. We have wonderful temperatures and a great deal of sun so that during a large portion of the year you can grow things, and believe me, we are doing that. Oh, well, I should say my wife is. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, this is Dan from Moses Lake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just lost your show about 25 minutes ago here. I guess the radio station went out.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But I had some comments I wanted to make about the chupacabra.
Yes, sir.
Last week you had a caller that he was mentioning about how like they had a long gestation period and stuff like that. It reminded me of an old movie I saw called Gargoyles.
Oh, I saw Gargoyles.
Yeah.
I remember that. In fact, this has a relationship to a gargoyle. No question about it.
Another question I wanted to ask is there any kind of way that somebody that, does not have access to the Internet could get that picture?
Well, we will publish it in our newsletter. I don't know what else to do to reach massive numbers of people. I don't know how else to do it. We'll put it in the newsletter.
Okay, how would somebody get that?
All right, you've got a pencil,
Mm-hmm.
I presume. You call 1-800-917-4278.
Okay.
All right?
I had another thing. Well, actually, it was a question for the racists that you had a couple nights back.
Yes.
How do they react when they see a beautiful black woman or a beautiful Latino woman? I know that when I see them, my blood starts to flow. But
A woman is a woman is a woman. And there are beautiful women of every color and cut. I thank you for the call. There are beautiful women all over the world. And if you doubt that, try watching the Miss Universe contest. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hello, this is Harold from Tennessee.
Hello, Harold.
Get you on WTN out of Nashville.
Yes, sir. The big one.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Freeman deal, and
Okay.
not necessarily that anybody's agreeing with them. We don't necessarily know even what all they believe in or don't believe in, but you were talking about the Civil War. It could come, you know, if for the FBI had
Well, what I said, sir, was that if the militias, the regular militias in the country, or even the fringe guys, you know, who aren't really in militias but are kind of in sympathy with them, or the patriot so-called community, decides this is a cause to stand and fight for, then you're damn right. We could end up with a revolution. And my advice to them is to study what it is they're fighting for before they pick up arms. Study whether these so-called freemen are really patriots or whether they're simply dishonorable people.
where the real problem comes is when ordinary people that are so fed up with the way all governments are doing.
That's right.
Get to taking sides.
That's right.
With people like that.
That's right. I say you got to pick your fights.
And most people are so busy making a living that they haven't got time to get into anything. But there's an underlying resentment to all government.
Of course.
In this country right now. And you take right here where we live, you can't do nothing without some government regulating it, telling you what you can do and what you can't do.
No, you're right. There's a great deal.
It starts with at the local level.
That's right.
We've got, it's a rural county where we live here, very small town, the county seat.
Yes, sir.
And they're trying to copy from the big cities. They're putting every kind of regulation on anything and everything. You can't, they got a zoning commission. You can't build what you want to build on your own property until they okay it. Then you got to have a permit then to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to have your property perk tested for a septic tank and all that, and they got to inspect all that.
But, you know, there are reasons for that. In other words, sir, when you, for example, let's take both instances, all right? Per test. Let's say that you're going to have a septic tank. A community, in its own interest, lays down rules that this man complained about, and people are frustrated by them. But really now, do you want to drink groundwater contaminated with somebody else's fecal matter? I don't think so. I don't think so anyway. I certainly don't. And so you've got to pay attention to how many of these ground dispersing septic tanks you want to have. And the test is to ensure that you are not consuming wastes, human wastes that have gone through the ground. So, see, to me that makes sense. It's not outrageous. It's for the public health. Now, I know governments go too far. Some covenants and restrictions go too far, and they make people angry. We worry about one little turtle. Turtle lands is in the wrong place on your land. You're a cook, man. You paid for that land, and now you can't use it. So there's some insanity going on. I understand that frustration. And government has gone too far. But the people who are now getting to the point where they're going to pick up guns are dead wrong. Dead wrong. in a literal and probably literal and certainly metaphorical sense. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hey.
Hey there.
Me.
Turn your radio off, please.
I didn't.
Turn your radio off, please.
Do that. I was just calling about the Freemen.
Yes.
Calling from Roswell, New Mexico.
Yes.
We should talk about aliens instead, I suppose. But I think had they been honorable and ethical and legal in their pursuit,
Yes.
that it would be fine to listen to them. I think, the Amish are a fine example of a community among themselves.
They are indeed.
That have their own laws and their own rules. The Mennonites, the Quakers, it's possible to govern yourself.
Yep.
But you have to do it legally and legitimately.
It is well you point that out. Those are good examples.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay.
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you. That's a good example. Look, nobody in America is saying that you cannot go off and be by yourself. If you want to be a Randy Weaver, you really still can be. If you want to go off and be a separatist, this is America. You can do that. You'd be surprised what you can say and do in America. As a matter of fact, one of my guests is going to prove it later in the week. Freedom of speech, still mainly intact. Most of our freedoms, still mainly intact. Or these kinds of things wouldn't even be going on. That itself is proof of your freedom, relative freedom, remaining intact. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hello, Art. This is Jeff from Houston.
Yes, sir.
Yes, about William Pierce coming on next week.
Yes.
You said before you were in interracial marriage, huh?
Yep.
I hope he wipes you through the mud. I used to listen to you. I used to respect you.
You hope that he wipes me through the mud, and you say you used to listen to me and used to respect me.
Well, I still listen to you, but I used to respect you.
I take it that you now no longer respect me because I'm in an interracial marriage. Is that correct?
Yes, you are a race traitor.
A race traitor.
Yes, and yes, you are.
Interesting. Why do you think I'm a race traitor?
Because you have defiled your race.
By marrying my wife?
You said she's not your race, right?
No, my wife was born in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
She's half Filipino. She's half Puerto Rican with some Chinese thrown in for good measure. And so I'm a race traitor. All right, well, yeah, I've got you. I think we're doomed. We'll be back.
The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More Somewhere in Time coming up. Presents Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from May 22nd, 1996.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. It's going to be quite a night, I can tell. You'll be able to feel it here shortly. There are all kinds of things on our menu, not the least of which is the Freeman. There has been a convoy of trucks that apparently has moved in or near the Freeman compound. All talks have broken off. Put briefly, Bo Greitz and now State Senator Charles Duke from Colorado have both tried and failed to get anywhere with the Freemen, both thinking they had agreements that the Freemen then violated with more demands. 9 people in there are under federal indictment. They've now been holding out for 59 days. They're heavily armed. They're at the perimeter of the property. They're beginning to, on occasion, raise rifles toward the FBI now. Leroy Schweitzer from jails urging those remaining to hold on, saying the federal government has no jurisdiction there, even though these are, by the way, federal indictments. He says, hang in there, don't give up, don't change the plan, whatever the plan is. The Freemen still enjoying running water, electricity, that sort of thing. There's an 8 and 10-year-old child or 2 children that I think are virtually being held hostage. The Freemen will not allow many who are in there, at least 10, to be seen or interviewed, leading to at least strong speculation there may be some held against their will in the ranch or the compound or whatever you want to call it. In fact, Boegreitz suggested as much. Here's a fax. Art, your comments regarding the Freemen are right on the mark. If there is another Waco-style slaughter of innocents in Montana, the blame is going to lie solely with the fanatical, incoherent, intransigent Freemen, whose high-minded philosophy allows both the writing of bad checks and the use of their own precious children as human shields. Sean in Yucca Valley. But prior to the hour, I got a fax from a Freeman supporter, which says, "Hey, Comrade Art Bell, you blankety, 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 blank. You could at least have a real debate on the Freeman issue, not a one-sided against 2 non-debate." He's referring to what we did last night. And I will say again, as I said to him in person on the phone, because I have now called him, he supplied me with the phone number, that the debates last night were as I always hold debates, and other than trying to keep the 2 sides from talking over each other so nobody can understand what's going on, as you know, I try to stay out of these debates and turn the air over to you. He finished the fax by saying, "I will debate and defeat anyone you can put on the air with my hands tied behind my back. Bob, down in Southern California." And then he supplied me with a phone number. So I called Bob. He's on the phone now. And I want to set up a debate. So anybody calling any of my phone lines right now, stop. What I want is somebody who feels, in essence, the way I feel. And it's very strongly. I feel these so-called men hiding behind children and women who they ought to get the hell out of there. You know, if they've decided they're going to fight it out, and they're going to get into a lead-throwing war with the FBI, if that's the way they're going to end this, then if they were men of any kind, free or whatever, they'd get the women and children out of there first. I think these are a bunch of dishonorable, non-good faith negotiators, check-kiters, people who are using the Constitution, the word patriot, and the militia movement to hold in front of them as they do the women and children. So if you feel that way and you want to debate with Bob here, who says he can defeat you with his hands tied behind his back, then call me now, and I'll be screening calls for somebody who would like to debate Bob. So that's all we're going to be taking calls for, and I'll screen those calls here shortly. Now, first of all, let's introduce those who are going to be debating. First, there is Bob from Southern California, the author of this fax to me. Right, Bob?
That's right, Art.
And you sympathize with the Freemen's plight.
I stand shoulder to shoulder with the Freemen.
You do. All right, good. That's you. You are going to be debating somebody whose name is Steve, and Steve is in Salt Lake City. Aren't you, Steve?
That's correct, yeah.
And so the 2 of you are on the air. The air is yours.
Hello, Steve.
Hi, Bob. Do you want to go first, or shall I state my position?
Well, I'd like to go first.
Okay, have at it.
I think that America is in trouble. And I think that there have been a long train of events that have led to this point. And gradually over the years, our government has changed the definitions of words, the definition of terms, and have basically usurped our Constitution. They've utilized executive orders and various amendments to the Constitution, such as the 14th Amendment, to put citizens in a position of slavery. And what I mean by that is that a person born in the United States is born and has rights that are inherent at the time of birth. A person that immigrates to the United States comes here and gets a privilege to live here. The United States government grants that privilege, and those people take an oath. And at that time, they swear an allegiance because they're being granted a privilege. Those of us born here have our rights because of as a birthright.
Okay, now, are you ready, or shall I begin?
I want to just say one other thing.
Okay.
Now
Go
we
ahead.
have the Freemen incident, and we've witnessed Waco, and we've witnessed the lies, such as the meth lab that never existed, to get a warrant, to get tanks and helicopters to shoot at Americans. We've seen Ruby Ridge, where Randy Weaver was entrapped, and the government lied, the FBI lied. And now we're looking at, we've seen the Oklahoma bombing. It has so many inconsistencies with judges that didn't show up for work, ATF members that didn't show up for work. None of the ATF babies were in the daycare center. And we're being asked at this point, after we listen to all of the news media vilify these people, to allow the FBI to just charge on in there and do it one more time.
All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've got a couple points of my own. What I feel is that you mentioned that we have unalienable rights. However, if you allow any crackpot group, and I think these guys are crackpots, if you allow any group to just say that they disagree with the laws as they are established in this land, to steadfastly just say, I don't think I have to pay my bills, I don't think I have to pay taxes, and declare their own nation, you are setting a precedent where any group like that is going to completely emasculate whatever semblance of law and order we have in this country. Number one. Number two, if you allow them to declare their own nation, their own sovereign nation, to me that's not a whole lot different than if you allow the Japanese to come over and bomb Pearl Harbor. I consider that an act of war against the United States. And if that precedent is allowed to continue, who will have any rights? We will have chaos in this country. Those are two pretty big rebuttals I have right there.
Well, you mentioned taxes. And taxation started out on corporations. Corporations were artificial entities created by the government. Those artificial entities were granted a privilege of existence. That privilege of existence was granted by the federal government. Therefore, they were liable to pay the federal government a tax for that privilege.
Okay, government. You've mentioned the word government several times. I'm suggesting that if you allow any person that disagrees with the laws of this country to just act whatever way they wish, and that's what the Freemen are obviously doing, that there will be no law, there will be no government, there will be nothing to hold this country together. It will devolve into chaos.
Well, we have a Constitution, and the Constitution is the law of the land.
What good is the Constitution if every person decides they want to do whatever the hell they please? Let's say I have a car loan or a mortgage, and I decide that, I just don't like, I'm halfway into my debt, I'm halfway with my payments, and I decide that I just don't like sending these checks in anymore. So I'm going to declare myself a sovereign nation. What if every person in this country takes that attitude? There will be not nearly enough people to enforce whatever laws we have. We will be overrun. It will be a land of tyranny.
It is a land of tyranny. And
I
agree
do you like
with
it?
there.
Would you like it to be even more so?
And the reason that it is a land of tyranny is because the Constitution
would you like it to be even more so, sir?
Are we going to have a debate?
Yes, but would you answer my question, then I'll answer yours.
What was your question?
I'm saying, would you like a land of tyranny?
No.
Okay.
Now, we do have a land of tyranny, and the tyranny exists when Thomas Jefferson explained it like this. Thomas Jefferson said, when you see a change in administration but no change in the policies of the government, then you have tyranny. we instituted the Bretton Woods Agreement, which debased our currency and actually put us into a world monetary system. We see on a daily basis, people don't even understand the tax situation. And basically the Freemen are trying to point out the fraud that's been going on in this country since 1913.
But do you think allowing any group that decides they want to rebel, have their own way, is going to reduce the tyranny? I think it's going to increase the tyranny.
Well, at this point in time, we don't have tyranny in Montana. What we have...
All right, what are you arguing about then?
We have a standoff, and so far it's been peaceful. What we have to do is negotiate an opportunity for all of America to see for themselves in public view.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Protected from any violence. Let the Freemen have their say. And just like Bill Clinton went down and testified on video, let's let the Freemen, let's hold a trial. Let's have a trial in a court in the Freeman compound there, the ranch.
Well, they don't want to come out and have a trial.
Well, let's have it inside. And let's have officials from both sides go inside that ranch, sit down and hold a court.
But whose country is this anyway?
Excuse me?
Whose country is this anyway? Aren't they supposed to abide by the laws of this country? Isn't that what you were concerned about?
Well, they are in the area where the crime that is alleged is supposed to have been committed, so they should be tried there.
Furthermore, I debate you on the fact that this has been a peaceful impasse. As far as I'm concerned, as a common law-abiding citizen, I feel like I'm being robbed from every day. My tax dollars are paying the FBI and all of the law enforcement officials to sit around and have a barbecue at my expense, and I feel like I'm being stolen from. I don't think that's peaceful. Do you think robbery is peaceful? Or burglary,
absolutely not, and the federal government's been doing it to you for years. You probably don't even know.
Is that right? Is it right?
You don't even know what makes you liable
is that
for
right or is it wrong?
To a tax.
Sir, is it right or is it wrong? I think it's a fair question.
Let me ask you a question.
Wait, will you answer mine? I'll answer yours.
What's your question?
I'm saying, is allowing the Freemen to steal from us every day, is that peaceful? Is it right or is it wrong?
Well,
I think it's wrong.
I don't believe that they're stealing from you because they have legitimate liens that have been ordered into a bank by a federal judge, Norwest Bank of Montana, that were seized by the comptroller of the currency, taken to Washington, D.C., and now sit and reside as the Secretary of Deeds. Now, the federal
government... Are you happy
government...
to pay your tax dollars to let the FBI engage in a 60-day standoff and probably, who knows, indefinitely how much longer?
Well, they don't have to be there,
This nation's already broke. We can't afford to mess around with groups like this that decide they want to make whatever laws they want and declare themselves a country anytime they want.
Excuse me.
Okay.
The FBI is violating Montana law. The Montana law reads like this. Either the legislature has to convene and they have to legislate an act calling for the federal government to intervene, and they can only do that in the event of an act of domestic violence, an uprising, insurrection. The same thing goes for the governor. He can issue a proclamation. Other than that, the FBI has absolutely no business being there.
But they're the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They represent the entire country.
They represent Washington, D.C.
But they're the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They're entitled to investigate any aspect of law enforcement that is deemed necessary in the entire United States.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
That's why they're called federal.
Let me ask you a very simple question.
Okay.
What is the income tax imposed on?
Income. Well, among other things.
You're wrong. Income is the measurement.
Income, but it's actually a lot more complicated than that.
You're absolutely incorrect. You have to be involved in a revenue taxable activity, or you have to have a privileged occupation or be a federal officer. Income is the measurement that they use to determine the amount of tax you owe.
Mm-hmm.
So you are being robbed because you're probably not even involved in a revenue taxable activity. Do you produce alcohol, tobacco, or firearms?
No, I sell a service.
If you don't own a radio station, if you're not involved in a revenue taxable activity, you're not subject to it or liable for it. And if you're paying it, it's because on your what they call an individual master file, they have registered you as a resident of the Virgin Islands or of Guam or someplace.
No, it's because we have a free market society, and society values my service, and I make income from that service, gainful income.
Sir, do you have a right to exist?
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, do you have that right?
What's that got to do with anything, sir?
Well, if you have the right to exist, then you have the right to eat.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with the Freemen?
Well, if you want to eat, you have to make a living, don't you? You can't just go out and shoot something in the street.
No, well, I feel the Freemen are stealing from me.
Have they personally
Did two
stolen
wrongs
something from
make
you?
a right?
Have they stolen something from you?
Yeah, I just said a while ago they're stealing my federal. My federal government that I pay income taxes and Social Security into is already bankrupt. It's a deficit.
Well,
Hang on, let me finish. I'll answer you.
The Freemen didn't steal that. The government did. And let me try to explain something.
I don't think continuing to steal is going to solve the problem. Now, I do feel stolen from because I pay taxes into that general fund, and we don't have funds to waste on some mamby-pamby stakeout like they're having there for some crackpot group that decides that they don't want to pay their mortgage or whatever else. What if I say, I don't want to pay my credit card? I'm just tired of it, so I'm going to say I am a one-man sovereign nation.
That's called bankruptcy. You can file bankruptcy if you don't want to pay it.
Okay, but obviously these guys have gone through that.
You're blaming the
loop,
wrong people, Steve. The creditor on the warrant is the Freeman. The debtor is the government. The government is the one who is not honoring their end of that warrant.
Well,
now, the Freemen filed liens against the government. Then they went to the federal court and they got a judge to open an account for them at a real bank. They placed the lien in a special collections account in the bank, and they wrote warrants against that lien. Just because the federal government doesn't pay their debts doesn't make the Freemen bad guys.
I don't think it gives the Freemen the right to just say they're their own sovereign nation. If they're their own sovereign nation, then I don't think that they are acknowledging our currency.
Well,
all right.
Let me try to explain something about it.
Gentlemen, this is a very good debate. If you both would like to hold on, you're both on my nickel, not yours. I'll bring you back after the bottom of the hour break.
Thanks, Art.
Okay.
Bob?
Yes.
Are you getting a fair debate?
Yes, sir.
All right, stay there. We'll be back. Good morning, everybody. You're listening to coverage of a debate between two people about the Freemen. A situation looks Back to our debaters. Steve and Bob, you're both back on the air.
I think I'll serve first this time.
That's my pleasure, Steve. Go right ahead.
Okay. When I mentioned that I felt that I'd been robbed from every day that this passes by, every day we spend more money out of our already impoverished coffers to perpetuate this standoff, this pointless standoff. I submit also that not only do I feel robbed, I really feel sorry for the people of Los Angeles County. As I remember, last year it was national news that this healthcare president, that's what he ran on, I'm the healthcare president, Bill Clinton, and the administration cut enough funding that Los Angeles County had to shut down over 40 regional healthcare centers. And not only that, but they were threatening to shut down County USC Medical Center. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I think a lot of people that want to have their children immunized and get health care and preventative treatment or perhaps emergency care, I think they would feel very robbed from, too. We don't have money to provide you those services, but we have money to spend FBI agents to stand around and eat donuts all night waiting for the Freemen to make up their mind when these guys don't even want to come out and talk it over in a court of law in the United States. And, well, that's quite a mouthful. I'll let you respond to that before I go on.
Well, Steve, I agree that you are being robbed.
Okay.
I don't believe that the Freemen are doing it, and let me say something before I go any further.
Okay.
There are people's lives at stake here, and I enjoy having this debate, and I think that this is a great forum for us to at least air things out.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to get into an argument. I would like to have a debate, and I'd like to maybe explain some things.
Okay.
The Federal Reserve and the Income Tax Act both passed into law in 1913. At that time, this country had no national debt. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it passed into effect, the Federal Reserve Act, it was collusion between the bankers and the Congress. Prior to that act, the Congress had to come to the states, and they had to tell each state, we need so much money to operate our government.
Mm-hmm. And
they would have to collect that money from each person individually and then send it to the federal government. once they passed this act, they had a blank check. The Congress could borrow as much money as they could get us to pay later. And we became the co-signers of this fraud. So our children and us were obligated to these debts. And when you pay your taxes, you talked about when you send in your check, if you get your canceled check back, you'll see on the back of it that it says, pay any Federal Reserve Bank branch or general depository for credit, U.S. Treasury. This is in payment of U.S. obligations. Must be paid at par NP. Do not wire non-payment. And what that really amounts to is a violation of Section 7809 of the Internal Revenue Code, which says that all deposits have to go to the Treasury. And these taxes are never going to the Treasury. They go to the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank. So we have a group of individuals that own the Federal Reserve, and you're paying your taxes to them. And you are not even liable for the tax, or you shouldn't be subject to it. Our federal government, according to the Constitution, is supposed to operate off of imposts, excises, and duties collected on trade.
Yeah, that's a key point, our country. And my point is that when the freemen declare themselves their own sovereign nation, then who knows what their rules are anymore. I still consider it not only an act of war against the United States, but if that president holds and it's allowed to continue,
well, do you think
there will be so many groups? You might as well let every person in all 50 states just decide they want to do whatever the hell they want to do, and there will be no federal controls of any kind.
Well, you know, Steve, our congressmen, they were writing a bunch of bad checks against the Congressional Bank.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Okay, but they weren't shot or surrounded by the FBI. And, you know, just the other night, Jerry Spence was on CNN or one of those cable stations, and he said, these people haven't done anything that the bankers and the Wall Street investors haven't been doing for years. And yet they have never been surrounded by the FBI and threatened with death. So what I'm saying here is we're a nation of rational people most of the time. But sometimes what happens is we let the mass media get us worked up into a frenzy where we're all out here screaming, attack, attack. The sheriff in Montana should arrest the FBI for trespassing. And Leroy Schweitzer was kidnapped.
There's so many things I got to interject with.
Go ahead.
The FBI is a federal agency. The states are subservient to it by definition.
That's not true.
Well, why are they called the Federal Bureau of Investigation then?
Why are they called the United States? Because they're states united.
But you were just talking about having a Federal Reserve System a while ago. So you're saying you like federalism on the one hand, but you don't on the other.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the federal government has an obligation under the Constitution to protect our borders and to regulate commerce.
But if every group decides to impose whatever law they wish, then none of us will be protected.
They're not proposing that. What they want.
But they are. They're saying they're their own sovereign nation. A sovereign nation makes its own laws.
No, let me read you something, Steve. They've asked for a trial at common law, and Article 7 of our Constitution says, in suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law.
All right. Well, then why aren't these guys willing to come out and have their day in court?
Because the courts are not common law courts. These
what
courts
makes them
are administrative
privileged?
Courts that don't operate under the Constitution. They're contract courts. When you go into a court,
the Constitution is going to be irrelevant if you let every group that wants to have its own way have its own way. There will be no point in having a Constitution. It will emasculate the entire system of whatever code of laws and justice and ethics we want. It will be chaos, pandemonium. I don't feel like I'm being protected if that precedent is allowed to continue, and that seems like that's just the direction these freemen want to move in.
See,
that's what scares me.
I don't blame you for being scared.
Okay.
But we need to put the blame where the blame goes. And the blame belongs on the officials in our government who violate the Constitution set up by our founders to protect us. That's the reason for that Constitution, and that's why this country is on the brink of a major disaster, is because they refuse to honor their oath of office. And whenever they take a public position, they swear to uphold and defend this Constitution. And
well,
then they
why
violate
don't the freemen come out and vote for constitutional amendments or urge their legislators to reform the laws if they don't like the way the laws are then?
Can I tell you something, Steve, that you probably don't know?
Have at it.
When you go pick up a form to fill out to register to vote, there's a question on there, and it says, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" And you check the box, and you sign it down at the bottom, and it says that you swear to this under penalties of perjury. Well, you have just sworn that you are a citizen of Washington, D.C., and then you become a federal citizen. Otherwise, you would be a citizen of whatever republic state you live in.
Well, I don't think you can be a citizen of any state in this country without being a federal citizen.
Oh, sure you can. You become a federal citizen when you contract to be a federal citizen by getting a Social Security card.
I mean, you're a citizen of California, but you're not a citizen of the United States. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not a citizen of Washington, D.C. I am a citizen of the California Republic.
Washington, D.C. is an acknowledged district within the boundaries of the United States, though.
It's a seat of government, and it's a corporation. And until you understand that...
Well, would that be the case if you lived in Sacramento? That would be the same, too.
That's the seat of the state government, and there's two governments within every state. There's the corporate government, and then there's the republic. And they're two different entities altogether. One is a business.
All right, well, I'm still not comfortable with the idea of the Freemen just being able to say they want to declare themselves a sovereign nation and just decide that, phooey, I don't want to pay my mortgage. I'm not comfortable with that precedent. I don't think every person should just willy-nilly decide that the law is whatever they say the law is.
Let's take a look at the mortgage. Let's just take a look at that for a minute.
All right.
Okay? You go into a bank, and you say, I need a mortgage. I want to buy this house over here for $150,000.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. You fill out a credit application, and you hand it to the banker.
Mm-hmm.
The banker looks at it, and in the meantime, he's got his buddy calling up the Federal Reserve, and he says, we need to borrow $150,000 for this guy. What's the rate on that? And the Federal Reserve says, oh, you're getting money right now at 1 point over prime. So they buy it for 1 point over prime, and then they loan it to you for 5 points over prime.
Now, they didn't make any money. There wouldn't be a bank for me to borrow from, though.
Whose credit did they loan you, yours or theirs?
It's not really a matter of, you don't loan credit.
It's
you
all
loan
credit.
money.
Because the money that you get is nothing more than a ledger entry.
And we have that money available to borrow because we have a Federal Reserve and a reserve requirement in the banks that allows loan funds to be available for borrowers.
Who died and made the bank the middleman between our government and us? Our government has the authority to print the money and issue the money. But what they've done is they've put a middleman in there to siphon off his little portion of it. And that's the Federal Reserve.
All right, so where's that tie in with the Freemen then?
What the Freemen are saying is this system needs to stop. This system is usury. It is wrong. It is not Christian. And they are Christian men. Believe me, I know them. I spent time with them. I broke bread with them. But they don't want violence. At the same time, they know that this country is going to the dogs. And it's going to the dogs because we don't hold our public officials accountable. We go into, just here in San Diego.
But I think in this case, I don't think our public officials, in the case of the Freemen, are holding us accountable.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, well, the Freemen should have been issued an ultimatum. You can come out, you can have your day in court, you can make whatever claim you want, you can have legal representation. If you can't afford an attorney, will be appointed for you. You'll be fairly represented in a state or federal court if need be.
Would you believe our federal government after the Oklahoma bombing?
Yeah, but if they're allowed to just stay in there and help the rest of the United States, then I don't think that our federal organizations are controlling us either. You've got to have a two-way street.
You know what? If somebody showed up at your house in a ninja outfit, a machine gun, and said, hey, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you, would you believe him?
All right, gentlemen, I've got to break in and say about 2 more minutes.
All right. Well,
I'd certainly be suspicious.
I'd like to close by saying something that was said before this country was even founded.
All right.
Okay? And this was a statement. It said, the poorest man may, in his cottage, bid defiance to all the forces of the crown. It may be frail, its roof may shake, the wind may blow through it, the storm may enter, the rain may enter, but the king of England may not enter. All his forces dare not cross the threshold of the ruined tenement. We have rights. These rights come from God. They aren't granted by the government. As soon as we give the government supreme authority in this country, then they will tell us what rights we have and don't have. But as long as God rules this country, our rights come from God, and the government is subservient to us.
God helps those who help themselves, too, and people who help themselves establish a system of rules so that chaos does not abound and that our personal safety and the integrity of this country does not be compromised the way the Freemen will surely compromise it if this precedent holds true and other people follow their lead backwards into chaos.
All right, gentlemen, that'll have to be the last word. I hope you both thought it was fair. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, good night. There you had it. I thought that was a pretty good debate. And you may wish to comment on what you drew from it. At this hour, the word is there is a convoy that has reached the Freeman location near Jordan. We don't know what's in it. The Freemen are flying the flag upside down. Indications are something is apparently about to happen. The last word is there are 2 children. There's a woman inside, if not more. There are 10 people that are unaccounted for in the sense that none of the negotiators have been able to talk with them, leading to speculation. They're being held against their will. That's the situation. You heard the debate. I think that guy kind of represented what the Freemen are saying, and you may react as you will. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Art, how you doing?
I'm okay.
This is Charlie in Phoenix.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Fine.
Hey, getting any weird calls tonight?
Charlie, are you listening to the radio?
Not for the last half an hour. I've been kind of busy. I'm working.
I see. What can we do for you?
Oh, not too bad. Oh, not much. Hey, Art, I was wondering, what are the chances of you getting Bob Ballard on the show for something, just for something different?
Who is Bob Ballard?
If you haven't heard of Bob Ballard from Woods Hole, the man who discovered the Titanic wreck?
No, well, I've heard of the Titanic wreck being discovered, yes, of course.
Yeah, Bob Ballard was the man who found the wreck.
Matter of fact, now they're taking out cruise ships.
Yeah, isn't that sad?
To give people a look at it.
Isn't that sad?
I think it is, yes. So that's my comment on it. I think it's sad, yes. Taking cruise ships out, show people the wreck of the Titanic. First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hi, Art.
Hello.
Incredible. I actually made it through.
Yes.
There's a videotape I've been wanting to send you, and I need the address to where...
Are you a first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay. I love your show, and it's funny, because if it wasn't for you, I started listening to you about a year and a half ago, and you're the one that got me hooked. I've never thought that I would come running home wanting to hear the radio before.
Where did you come running home from?
Wherever I may be, girlfriend's house or something.
Oh, I see.
Think about it. I'm putting priority of you over her. I've even taken my radio to her house.
I have no comment on that. Thank you very, very much for the call.
Don't take it the wrong way now.
All right, don't worry. I'll look forward to getting the videotape. Oh, my. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes.
Turn your radio off, please.
Okay.
Good.
Heather, turn the radio off.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I just want to make a comment about the Freemen.
All right.
First of all, they have broken the law.
Yes.
And I know that
they're accused of breaking the law. And to be clear, there are indictments, federal indictments, against 9 of the individuals in those homes, ranches, compounds, whatever.
Yeah. I think it's a really sad state that I know that if I was accused of something like that, they would come and arrest me without a thought.
And if they did and came to your house with a legitimate warrant, and you broke a window, stuck a rifle through the window, and said, "Get off my property,"
they would fill me full of holes.
That's a good guess.
Now, I think that it's pretty sad that they can be held off. The government can be held off and held hostage just because people have a lot of guns. I don't think that's just not right to me.
Well, some of it arguably is political. The government made mistakes at Waco, at Ruby Ridge.
Oh, well, I can understand them.
Now there's this great body of militia out there and people who are on the edge, ready to grab a gun. Johnny get his gun, and they're going to go rushing off and have been ready to sort of a hair-trigger situation for the next situation like Waco that would develop. Somehow we've got to get the word out to these groups. Gentlemen, pick your fight. This one isn't the one you ought to be putting your life up for. These people are not the kind of people that were at Waco.
Yeah, definitely.
This is not Waco. It's not Ruby Ridge. These are lawbreakers. These are people who just have decided that they're going to, as the debater said, take the law into their own hands. And I see nothing honorable about what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thanks for the call.
All right, thank you very much.
Take care. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Turn your radio off, please.
Just did.
Good.
Okay. Well, I have several things to say about this Freeman thing and some of the points they raised in that debate.
Sure.
First off, this federal citizenship nonsense. What I'm seeing here is that, okay, before we had the Constitution, we had the Articles of Confederation, and we had a much more loose unification of these national entities that are called states, semi-national. And as the preamble says, it's to form a more perfect union. The purpose of the Constitution was to overhaul the situation, which was too loose. These people would not support each other against Indian raids. There was Shays' Rebellion, which was a debtors' rebellion, and sure, they were being abused somewhat, but the thing it was almost like a proto-communist, what have you. So, in the face of all this, they felt they needed to be more consolidated.
All right, listen, dear, where are you?
I'm in Palo Alto.
Palo Alto, California, and the subject is the Freeman. Now, thank you for holding on. Back to Palo Alto. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, these people, sovereign citizenship and all this bunch, it's not just the Freemen. I mean, what they are saying and acting out on or hiding behind or whatever is what you could call mainline patriot thought.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons I find it a little bit dangerous. Anyway, it's also, as I said, historically inaccurate. They act like these states are like nearly sovereign nations. Now, as I said, this matter, some of this line of talk goes back to John C. Calhoun.
Look, well, you and I have not been at the compound, the farmhouse. We haven't talked to the Freeman, but Charles Duke, senator from Colorado, who was the power behind the 10th Amendment movement in Colorado, and is arguably himself sympathetic to these kinds of issues, legitimate issues, went and talked with the Freeman. He came out and said, these people aren't patriots. These people are not mainline anything, militia or anything else, and they're hiding behind the patriot movement.
Exactly.
And that makes it damn dangerous.
Oh, exactly. They are frauds. But what I'm saying is that the talk they are using, the arguments they are using, however,
they're designed
lacking in good faith.
No, they're designed to appeal to that exact group and engender support for the unsupportable otherwise.
Right. But what I'm saying is the arguments that they are making are the same arguments you'll find with people who actually believe this stuff and do not write bad checks.
Right.
But anyway, it has certainly some violent potential anyway. Now, okay, I don't know how much time you want to allot me. I'll try to make this quick. John C. Calhoun, back before the Civil War, was a big wheel both in, I guess it was South Carolina politics and federal level politics. He could not afford to risk losing either end of his career. Both were too fat.
Right.
Now, there was the so-called tariff of abominations. You know, there was these economic struggles going on between wool and textile, what have you, and the cotton crowd and all this. And slavery also played a role as an issue. Now, every so often some of these rather arrogant, touchy types, and I recall that Jefferson's description of your typical Southern aristocrat being very touchy and at the same time kind of lascivious but lazy and very concerned for their own rights and disregarding of others sounds very much like some of our self-righteous type criminals in California, but never mind. Anyway, these people, some of them started talking secession. Now, Calhoun couldn't afford this, because he wanted to protect his federal level career. And so he cooked up a theory which, though it allowed secession, put it at a later stage of a process that begins with the states have the right to nullify a federal law of any sort by simply ignoring it. And then there's a sequence that everybody's to go through, geeing and hawing, and then they get to secession far enough down the line that he hoped it wouldn't happen, so he wouldn't have to make a choice. So all this was very self-serving on his part. Nonetheless, it was his line of arguments that eventually were used to justify the secessionist movement that did finally get going into the Confederacy. Now, for example, we'll find nowadays people whose origin of this concern is really the segregation issue. They did not want to segregate, so they complain about the 14th Amendment, and they say the 14th Amendment for the first time applied to the states that they had to obey within their borders, how they acted.
All right, listen, we're now running short of time.
All right, then I'll just get back to the original idea about the sovereignty of the states. This was curtailed sharply in the Constitution. Its preamble made it clear that this was its purpose. The states themselves were very antsy about signing this. Their whole behavior showed, and their demand for a Bill of Rights showed that they knew they were surrendering a great deal of sovereignty. Madison, who was the remaining, I think it was Madison, who was the last remaining living signer of this when Calhoun's theories, which are basically sovereign state, came up, he denounced this as totally beyond what was the original intent, legislative intent, you would call it in a legal wrangle in an appellate court now. And he considered, as Daniel Webster said, this was not an agency contract with everybody being involved still independent of each other, but a executed contract creating a new entity. And as far as it says very clearly in one of the early parts of the Constitution that this Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Anything in any state constitution or local laws that are in conflict with it are superseded by it, or the contrary notwithstanding. I mean, it's very clear.
Or put another way, the FBI has every right to be there.
Yes.
Listen, I'm going to have to go now, but I appreciate your argument, and I agree.
Okay, I have a webpage at www.advweb.com/KW, and I will increasingly start dealing with these issues.
All right, thank you very much, and a very good morning to you. Dear Art, the Freemen have violated our constitutional rights. They have denied us the right to free travel since we cannot pass on certain roads. They are denying us the normal protections of the FBI agents who would otherwise be assigned elsewhere. They're absorbing our tax dollars for their illegal actions. I wonder if somebody might file claim against the Freemen for their infringement of our constitutional rights. Steve in Santa Barbara. Or from Edward in Salt Lake City, what I'm hearing over and over is a sense of powerlessness and frustration. I fear things may get worse in this country because most of these groups cannot even clearly define their own positions. They're overwhelmed with endless regulations, the nonsense of political correctness, and the constant agitation of liberal psychobabble. They can't define any clear solution, so they talk in circles around what is their frustration with the society we live in. Well, I listened to their arguments about the Federal Reserve and the money system and what they perceive to be illegal taxation and all the rest of it, and they completely ignore the fact that we have the Constitution in place that allows us to address all of these issues. Instead, they're going to address them by not paying their mortgage, issuing liens, writing hot checks, and holding guns on the people who come to serve them with legal warrant. I don't think so. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Bell.
Hello.
Yeah. Very interesting conversation debate there.
Yes.
Matter of fact, if you don't mind changing the subject, getting back to a program, something you spoke on air about a few days ago, about each individual person.
Yes. No, my argument, actually, that's consistent. We are, each individual, granted these freedoms that I, too, believe come from God and even beyond the Constitution. But we also should act in a responsible way in return, individually.
Correct, yeah. It has to do with man has just gotten well. I do believe in God, and he's done wonderful things and continues to do so in my life and others, is that we are getting to a point now to where we're getting to a higher, well, some of us, that is, are getting to a certain higher consciousness level to where we can certainly see beyond what is present day going on. You see, people call it, like I said, it's quickening, etc. Yeah, as a matter of fact, anything, somebody asked you that if you had any information. I asked you one time about this new movie Independence Day, and you said you actually have a script.
I do.
Oh, pretty neat stuff, huh?
Yes, and I'm utterly keeping my mouth shut about it. Thank you very much for the call. Yes, I do. It is. Well, I really can't say anything. I want that motion picture to be a surprise for everybody, and it's going to be. It's definitely going to be. Yeah, individual action, individual responsibility as well, individual freedom, and free men. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Art.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? John from Austin.
I'm okay.
K-phone.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to make a couple of really quick points, and one of which is that the things that they're saying about the Freemen, the problem is that a lot of people are having with it. It's the exact same things they said about Randy Weaver and the Weaver family and Ruby Ridge, and about the Branch Davidians in Waco.
No, sir, they're not the same thing.
I know they're not the same thing, but they're saying the things that they're saying about the Freemen are sound remarkably similar to the same things they said about the Weavers.
Well, but there's a big difference, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that if you listen to the people of Montana in and around the Freemen, they're saying these things. Now, you go back to Waco, those things weren't being said. Oh, a few people were. But basically, the people in and around Waco said they don't bother anybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, the point I'm trying to make is I can understand why some of the people are having a hard time believing what's being said about the Freemen, because the same kind of propaganda was used against the Branch Davidians and the Weaver family.
That is a valid point.
Okay, the second point I wanted to make is about the Republic of Texas people. Their point is that the U.S. government never had a law allowing sovereign nations to be brought into the United States, and the Republic of Texas was never dissolved prior to being brought into the United States. So technically,
Texas has a provision in the Constitution that allows uniquely for secession under certain circumstances.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm aware of that.
So the point of the Republic of Texas people, whether it's valid or not, is that technically, even under U.S. law, that the bringing Texas into the Union was illegal.
Well, you know what? I'm betting Texans will want to stay in the Union.
Well, it depends. A lot of people here in Texas have long thought that Texas would have been better off not getting into the Union at all.
Well, that is spilt milk, sir. Thank you. The question now is whether Texas wants to leave the Union. And while there is a special provision within the Constitution of the state of Texas, my bet is that aside from a relatively small group of people, the majority of Texans are quite pleased to be part of the USA. So I don't look for their picking up their Texas sticks and leaving any time soon. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello there.
Yes, sir. Where are you?
In Nebraska.
All right.
Yeah, this Freeman thing is getting kind of ridiculous. This sovereignty, this citizenship of Washington that he talks about in your debate, that is a mess.
I know.
I'm one that would feel like the FBI and the ATF ought to just maybe lob in some nerve gas, carry them all out, put them in a hospital, and say, you're under arrest.
Well, if it were not for the women and children, I think that would have already been done.
Yeah, well, I guess that probably is one of their thoughts, but some of that stuff they can lob in there wouldn't hurt the kids either.
Well, that's what they thought at Waco.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult situation when there's children involved.
It certainly is. Listen, I won't keep you any longer. I just been trying to get in a couple of nights, and you have a good one. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Have a good morning. I determined pretty early on with regard to the Freemen what I thought about them. And I did some looking into it before I opened my mouth. And when I did, early on, I got the vitriolic letters that I got, you can't believe. Calling me a traitor, calling me not a patriot, that I had no idea what the word means. And then the American public slowly began to find out. In fact, in response to that, for 2 days, I opened these lines to people in Montana, right in the area there. And without exception, they all called and said, these people, these so-called free men, have been terrorizing us and our community. And the vitriolic letters didn't come from Montana. They came from other areas where this so-called patriot community was being fraudulently drawn into the sympathetic-sounding arguments made by the so-called free men to cover up what they've been doing, which is nothing more or less than the big bully on the block used to do when you were a kid. You remember him, right? First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello. All right, let me turn my radio off.
Thank you.
Okay.
Where are you?
I'm in Houston.
Yes, sir.
Just want to make a few comments on the Freeman deal.
Sure.
It really upsets me when some nights I lay here and I listen to you, but actually I'm thinking, worrying about how I will pay bills that I owe.
Yeah.
And these people, they just decide that they don't want to pay bills
anymore.
And I think every person in this country, there are a lot of Americans that do so, that struggle day to day to make ends meet, should be outraged.
I have been. It's like, you heard the guy in the debate arguing about, he went from mortgages to the Federal Reserve determining the interest rate and telling the bank, which is a slave in the middle, collecting and usury and your money and all the rest. What a bunch of total unadulterated crap.
Right.
The fact of the matter is nobody's arm is twisted to go sign a mortgage agreement.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping the other guy would say.
Well,
that he was saying, when you pay the mortgage bottom line, the other guy should have told him right away, then don't go sign the mortgage.
There you are.
And then, too, even if everything that all of the reasons that they cite were accurate, there's nothing Christian and there was no moral reason that they can give for holding women and children. I was thinking even here in Texas, we sort of romanticized the Alamo, which was sort of a standoff type situation. But
sure.
It's interesting that even the men in the Alamo allowed the women and the children to leave before it got bad. The only woman, the only white woman that is that stayed was Emily Dickinson, and not Emily Dickinson, I forgot her first name, Dickinson's wife. And she only stayed because she wanted to stay with her husband. But they allowed all of those people to leave. And so these men are nothing more than and I know this is weird, and a lot of people that are sympathetic to them just sometimes happen to be people who would, as you said, the guy, I forget his name, but the guy that wishes that all blacks and Jews would leave.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have him on the air.
Right, and of course I'm black, and so of course when they hear me, they say, well, of course he feels that way. But I truly look at it as a non-color issue, and when he's on, I hope I can get through.
I hope you can too.
And I'd like to apologize too to all the people that when I got on the phone, their rings were just going out. I know how horrible that feels trying to get through.
I know. I thank you, my friend,
and
I hope you make it through. We're going to have, let me promo this again because it is important. He was on 60 Minutes this last Sunday. It was actually, all things considered, with Kevorkian, with the story on Russia, and the story on the man who wrote the Turner Diaries, one of the best 60 Minutes programs in probably the last year or two. This Turner Diaries thing. Unbelievable. So I'm going to have Dr. Pierce on. I talked with Dr. Pierce earlier today, and he asked what I thought of his book, and I told him honestly what I thought of his book. But I said that will not preclude your getting a fair interview. And by that I mean that I'm not going to rip him apart. I'm going to let him say what he wants to say, and you might have a hint if you saw the 60 Minutes program of what he believes. And we will listen fairly, because that's what I do on this.
Premier Networks presents Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from May 22nd, 1996.
I'm going to read you something, and this will be a test. If it makes you angry, then you're in one camp. If you agree with it, then you're in another. Art, the more articulate Freemen supporters invariably obfuscate the fundamental issues surrounding the Montana standoff with a mind-numbing flurry of pseudo-historical revisionism and paranoia, conspiratorial fear-mongering regarding what they see as the evil, monolithic federal government. The real issue in this unfortunate situation is grown men hiding behind helpless children in defense of a poorly defined, morally indefensible, crackpot political philosophy whose first principle seems to be that the federal government does something wrong and dishonorable, then so can I. And now you're on the air, Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. Where are you, please?
I'm in Vancouver.
Vancouver, BC?
Yes.
All right.
I just want to say hi to everybody on the IRC, too. This is Doctor again.
Oh, an IRCer.
Yes.
I was on there yesterday morning, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Well, I didn't catch you on there.
Right after the program.
Oh, well, I don't quite make it that late. I know that you were saying some stuff about being on AOL and wanting to make sure that your security was safe. I was wondering, are you able to do that on the IRC to make sure that nobody's copying your...
Yes, I use a specific logon with my name followed by a number that nobody else can duplicate.
Oh, okay. That's good.
And thank you. And yes, you're right. With regard to AOL, I haven't been on there because somebody figured out how to assume a screen name. And I'm waiting to hear from AOL that they have that problem solved. Until then, the only thing I could do once that occurred was to say whatever Art Bell goes in there isn't me. You know, because I'm not going in there until this gets solved. So you can be damn sure that it's not me. If you see somebody in the AOL chat room claiming to be Art Bell, just isn't so, because I'm not going on until I get some official word that that problem is solved. And you can imagine why. I don't want somebody using my name, saying things that are, in effect, putting words in my mouth. I don't want that to happen. It's just a cyber problem. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, I'm from La Jolla.
La Jolla, California. Yeah. All right, you're going to have to get close to your phone and speak up. You're a little hard to hear. What is your first name?
My first name is Harris.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question about the quickening that you've been talking about.
Yes.
What are we actually quickening to? And is it a world event or just...
If I knew that, sir, I would be, thanks for the question, I'd be a preacher. I'm sure I would. I don't have those answers. I am an observer. I'm a talk host. I observe social, economic trends, political trends, earth changes. I observe things. I deal with the news. Day in, day out, hour in, hour out. And so what I call the quickening is just a simple observation on my part that events are moving at a faster and faster pace. What will it culminate to? I don't know. I don't have that knowledge. A revolution? God's return? Judgment Day, Armageddon? A restructuring? I don't know. I wish I had that knowledge. I am an observer, not a prophet. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
How are you?
This is Janae in Sonoma County, California.
Well, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'd like to make a couple of brief comments about the chupacabra.
Oh, yes. Do you have the photograph?
No, I don't.
Well, I talked to my webmaster, Keith Rowland, a little earlier, and in the 24 hours we've had it up there, 10,000 people have taken copies, so a lot of people have got it.
Well, I have two experiences, not with the chupacabra, but in regard to it, and they're both pretty humorous. The first one is Saturday I received a solicitous call from MCI. The young gentleman was calling from their office in southern Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, they were hoping I'd see the light and convert. And anyway, somehow we ended up talking about the chupacabra.
Now, wait a minute. How do you get from you should come on board with MCI and dump whoever you've got to the chupacabra?
Well, he's on the desert in Texas. I wrangled horses on the Mojave.
I see.
We were talking about tarantulas,
I
scorpions.
see. So you struck up a conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
So he told me that the day before in their major, it's either Dallas or Houston newspaper, the front page had an article and a drawing of the chupacabra.
Aha.
And he's mailing it to me. Before I tell you the other chupacabra thing, I want to tell you that I talked to you off the air about an earthquake in May in this area.
Yes.
And the one 2 days ago, that wasn't the one.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is, 2 nights ago, about 11:30, it's been raining all day. I remembered my new aviary of birds outside, and I wanted to go out and check on them. It's about 11:30 at night, dark, cold, rainy, and I hear something rattling in the bushes. So I'm not afraid, and I just say, "Who's out there?" And I start going out to see what's in the bushes, and I'm going, "Show yourself or get out of here."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I remembered you talking about sending somebody into the woods, and I started laughing so hard I practically sat down in the mud.
You mean the inevitable woman in a low-cut blouse?
Yeah, but the way
it's the ultimate test. All right, well, thank you. Look, if there is a monster around, anybody who's watched any monster movie knows, whether it's the basement or the wooded grove, and you want to bait a monster, all you do is get a good-looking woman in a low-cut blouse and either send her into the woods or send her into the basement. Monster bait. And if there's a monster there, it's guaranteed. He will immediately regard her as a potato chip. Well, moving back now to the subject of the Freeman from Mark in Michigan. Art, thanks to Mr. Duke, referring here to State Senator Duke of Colorado, thanks to Mr. Duke, the blood of these Americans will be on his hands because of the words he chose to use. Do you and Mr. Duke and Bo Greitz know something the rest of us don't? P.S. Wake up, Art. Yes, I think we do know something that people like you, Mark, don't. And that is that these people in Montana are using the kinds of words that get the blood of your type, Mark, going in order to engender support for illegal activities, in order to be able to hold the FBI off at the point of a gun. Mark, yes, I think we've realized that. It's too bad you haven't, because if a lot of people like you, Mark, go marching off as to war to protect these thugs in Montana, then there's really going to be trouble. And that, Mark, is going to be blood on your hands. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, Art. Let me get my radio.
Yeah, turn it off right away, please.
Yeah, it's off.
There you go. It'll confuse you.
I've been listening to you for many years, and I just wanted to comment. One thing that people don't seem to get is that the FBI is made up of Americans just like us.
That's right.
And the two that were debating on the phone last night,
yes,
they both were really, really out of it, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed that. That's pretty much all I wanted to say, except...
I'm not sure which two you're referring to. We had a number of...
Well, they were both about 28 years old. They were both... let's see. They were talking about whether just before... what's her name? What's Liberal Sue? You know...
You mean Elizabeth?
Yeah, Elizabeth. There you go. I got that mixed up. Elizabeth is, she was discussing, she was also out of it too. She thought that the Freemen actually thought they were, I think they know that what they're doing is wrong.
All right, thank you. I'm not exactly sure I followed the line of your criticism. A couple of those debates were superb yesterday. Actually, absolutely superb. It got off into some Yahweh, discussion of Yahweh and all the rest of it. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Art.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I have some very awesome news for you.
All right, where are you?
Beg your pardon?
Where are you?
I'm calling from South Bay area on Kogo. I mean, KABC.
KABC, all right, L.A. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What is the awesome news?
The awesome news is that the Freemen evidently have a tremendous amount of supporters around the country. I have an article here in front of me that a friend of mine Xerox out of a magazine called Perceptions, May, June issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's published here in Culver City, California, not too far from me.
Yes.
On February the 26th, an interracial, intercultural grand jury was seated to hear testimony and view evidence for the people of the Republic of Texas versus the agents of their oppression, the United States Incorporated.
I'm well aware of the rebellion in Texas.
Are you aware that they are in the process of seceding from the Union?
Well, I'm aware of the fact that there's a few people who think they might like to do that. That doesn't mean Texas is going to secede from the Union. And it may well be that some of those people would feel they have something in common with the Freemen, so-called. I would not say that would be a point, if it is the case, in their favor. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hello, this is David, Newhall, California.
Hi, David. What can I do for you?
I want to talk about dishonor.
Yes, go right ahead.
Well, you know, this guy, Clinton, just knocks me down. I mean,
you mean this president who is, in effect, claiming, in order to put off the Paula Jones lawsuit, claiming that he is in the U.S. military by virtue of the fact that he is commander-in-chief and therefore exempt or should be exempt. That's his pleading to the U.S. Supreme Court?
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, this guy, he goes to a foreign country, he denounces the government, he denounces the military, and now he's hiding under a law to protect people that fought and died for this country.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. I mean, how low would this man stoop?
Well, apparently, in a lot of ways, very much like the Freemen, putting up issues and standing behind things that they ought not stand behind.
Well, maybe we should send the FBI up there to arrest Clinton, throw him out the country.
Well, I think the U.S. Supreme Court will decide that case. At least in the president's case, he is making a pleading, though ridiculous on the face of it, in my opinion, that I believe the U.S. Supreme Court will reject, but I could be wrong about that. You never know what a court is going to do. At least in the president's case, he is dealing within the system and taking it as far as he can, ridiculous on the face of it as it may seem. He is working within the system, something those people in Montana apparently have chosen not to do. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Going once. Gone. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Oh, yeah. Boy, it's nice to talk to you.
Well, glad to have you. Where are you?
I'm in Deming, New Mexico.
All right.
All right. I'm going to suggest something that's going to pale your chupacabra into insignificance here. But you're going to have to be patient and wait for it. I think there's probably going to be a limited nuclear war in the Middle East.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, I study scripture and prophecy and have been for years. And I bet you it'll be before 99, and it may very well be in 97.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be in the wintertime, and it'll be in the Sabbath day, and that'll be the beginning of this world government silliness.
Okay, how do you know this?
Well, it's a matter of mathematical probability. If you look at the 24th chapter of Matthew and 24 Ezekiel, the entire book of Amos, 14 Isaiah, they all talk about the beginning of sorrows being a time when whole Palestinia are dissolved.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many, many other, vector points that come into play here, not the least of which is, going back to 1607, 390 years forward, that was Jamestown, and all these other prophecies that are mentioned in Scripture. But what I would like to do, I'm about 99% certain that it will happen, and probably about 50% certain that it will happen before the end of the century. If it does, I'll give you the rest of the story.
All right, sir. Well, we'll look forward to it. The rest of the story, nuclear confrontation. It is possible. If you look at the condition of Russia, and by the way, late word is, thank goodness, Boris Yeltsin seems to be doing better now in the polls. So my comment would be, thank goodness, and I hope he carries the day, because the alternative is a return to communism, and they've still got their strategic nuclear weapons. Even if Yeltsin succeeds in winning the election, the odds are very much against success with regard to holding Russia, even Russia, together. And if you've got a Russia that is out of control or involved in civil strife and war, you recall the day of the tanks punching holes in the parliament. If that kind of thing were to begin again and the armed forces were to split, the possibility of nuclear conflict, the Mideast situation aside, is, I'm sorry to say, great and dangerous. And in a lot of ways, today, though we think we're safe, thank God the nuclear threat is over, sorry, folks, it's not. And on the heels of all that, our president is fighting any research and development at all into the protection of this country from ballistic missiles. You might want to look really carefully at that one. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi. I'm not going to tell you who I am, but I am calling from Hawaii.
All right.
I just heard you talking about the president setting up something with ballistic missiles.
Well, no, the president, ma'am, is opposing any sort of continued SDI work or protection against a ballistic missile attack.
Boy, is that a crock.
No, it isn't.
Let me tell you something. I just have inside information that we have some Russians coming over in correlation with a couple of aerospace corporations and the United States military to do war games between the United States and Russia with ballistic missiles.
Yeah, that's been underway, that kind of exchange for a long time. I'm all aware of that.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Do you think it's a good idea or not a good idea for the U.S. to have some kind of defense against somebody, anybody, not just the Russians, anybody, who would fire a ballistic missile at our country?
Oh, I fully believe that we should be armed and ready, but I don't think we should be bringing the enemy over here.
Well, look, what you just said really does not bear on what I said. It's interesting, but yes, we have contacts with the Russians. It is safer to do so, to be talking to them, than not. But again, I say, and I mean it, you better look carefully at a president who opposes any kind of ballistic missile defense for this country. It's in the news this morning, and it ought to be higher in the news. We'll be right back.
You're You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from May 22nd, 1996.
Stuff. Somebody told me that when I started talk radio a long time ago. Hi, Art. I've been listening to you for about 18 months now. Have decided that you are the fourth best thing in the world for me. First is my family. Second, my country. Third, high-heeled shoes that women wear. And you are the fourth. Can't really see you moving up, but fourth is not so bad. Maybe the trucks that moved in today to the Freemen area might be carrying fencing equipment to surround the area. Then the state can condemn the land, turn it over to the U.S. government. They can declare it a federal prison. The government could move in because the people being held awaiting trial for crimes against the government have taken over the prison. I don't agree with all the things the government has done in the past. However, this government is mine, yours, and all the people living legally in America. Jerry in Hawaii. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Oh, hey, what do you know? This is Andrew in Seattle.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned something that prompted a thought on my part regarding the Freemen's demands. They have asked for a lot of natural law judicial proceedings. Among these, a trial by a jury of their peers.
Well, I'll tell you what. Mr. State Senator, Colorado State Senator Duke just came out, and he said that they had reached an agreement that the demands the Freemen had made, whatever they were, and it wasn't detailed, had all been met and agreed to by all parties concerned.
Including that?
Well, if that is part of it, I wasn't there, sir, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And that they had then reneged, welched on the agreement at the last minute, simply uttering over and over again, we want due process. This was after the agreement. After.
Right. Now, what I am reminded of, and like you, I found it remarkable, when you look at what people in Montana in particular, their neighbors are saying.
Yes.
You get a good indication of whether they're willing to put their money where their mouth is.
That's right.
In fact, I listened to that one neighbor, you may recall him, who indicated that they were going to get a posse together.
Well, in fact, that whole thing was underway. They were actually deputizing people and getting ready to move in themselves. Yeah.
Now, my own feelings about the FBI aside, in fact, I wouldn't necessarily think it was the smartest thing to bring them in necessarily. In this case.
Well, I think it is my understanding the local authorities requested it because they were not prepared to handle it.
I'm sure of that. I'm just saying I would think that it may have been would have diffused the situation had the Montana State Police been involved rather than the FBI. But that aside, I think that the local neighbors they are the peers that would appropriately judge them.
That's right.
And furthermore, the way these neighbors were talking, it sounded to me as if they were the ones who were acting as the local militia.
I really have got to agree with you of the most basic kind, really. That goes back to America's very early history. They were prepared to act on their own, and that would have been bloody. So
yeah, well, they were saying that this has got to be done.
Yep.
And if no one's going to do it, we're going to do it. Furthermore, in the basic definition of a jury of their peers, people that know these people's character.
Some of them, sir, were even relatives of people in there.
Well, exactly. What better jury are they going to get?
And then I took another precaution. Before I took a position on this one way or the other, in my job, I can only do what I can do. I do a talk show, right? So for 2 solid days, I'm sure you heard it if you're a listener, I opened the lines to Montana, specifically to that area. And I took call after call after call after call, so the whole nation could hear what the people in Montana.
Have you traveled much up there?
I've been through the area, yes.
I can tell you from my own experience that these people are the least political
That's right.
Of any that I've met in this country.
That's right.
In other words, they're so used to accomplishing and relying upon their own resources.
That's correct.
That politics is almost, fluff.
Yeah, sure. They're very individualistic and generally have a very much have an attitude of live and let live, as I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone.
Yeah, you can bet. I mean, and of course this is somewhat of a different subject. You've talked about the Russians' patience, ability to withstand suffering. What I get a sense when I see Montana people, what I get a sense of is that they will put up with all kinds of stuff because that's life. Life is messy.
Yeah, it is.
And you do what you do. And you get every bit of satisfaction from your hard work and your family and those things that you value in each and every day. And when problems like this come up, it's got to be a burr under the saddle for a long time before they're prompted to the kind of reaction that these neighbors and these relatives were expressing.
Couldn't agree more, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Take care. Yeah, they didn't come to this easily. They don't get nosy with their neighbors or pushy with their neighbors or get, for God's sakes, to the point where they're ready to form a posse easily. Their sensibilities are not offended easily. That's all correct. In this particular case, I actually feel sorry for a lot of the FBI on the scene there, because they are being restrained politically from doing what law enforcement should be doing. There's a different view for you, huh? To the phones we go. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air.
I've got just two comments. One is actually they're both in the form of a question. I noticed you have a number of your programs oriented around the paranormal.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and I was wondering if you've ever attempted to get James Randi on as a guest.
He's one that I have not had on yet, but I would very much like to.
He has a very, very interesting perspective on the situation and does very, very thorough research into it.
Oh, I'd very much like to have him on.
He's located in Plantation, Florida these days.
Okay.
So if you ever get around to it, I'd certainly listen in.
Well, anybody with a contact number, send it to me, email it to me, fax it to me, whatever, and we'll follow up. I'll have anybody on.
Okay, great. I'll do that then.
All right.
The other comment I have is also in the form of a question. Earlier in your program, you made a comment with regards to racism and the vitriolic hatred that seems to be pandemic these days.
Yes.
And you essentially stated that you thought it was due to more or less of a blame-centered orientation and a kind of collective paranoia in society, which I thought was a very good point. I'm wondering if to regress back even further, what you have in mind with regards to how you perceive this as having gotten to the serious proportions that it has. What's engendered this?
All right. I'll try and address that. Thank you. In a simple sentence, I think we've had it too easy, too long. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there was a day in America when everything was harder, when everything required more initiative, more work, more personal responsibility, more attentiveness to being responsible for your own situation. What has brought us to where we are? The ideology of liberalism to a great degree, its effect on the educational system, our technological revolution, our dependence on government, the gimme generation, the end of the war and the forgetfulness of what it was like when times were hard, the expectation that you are owed things, these things have contributed to a sense that that we're owed. You know, by virtue of the fact that we are born here, we are owed. And therefore, we don't put forth the kind of effort we once did. And so fewer of us succeed. And when we fail, we blame it on the first available or most easily available group, whether it be the government, somebody who's got black skin or brown skin or has a particular religion or worship. In other words, we begin infighting and like the rats chewing each other alive. That's what I think is feeding it. So that's the best answer to the question I can give you. Beyond that, I'm not sure. But I think that accounts for the increasing time spent hating, the increasing energy devoted to hating. I think all of that contributes to it. I'm not sure it's the totality of it, but that's the best I can do. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. Thank you very much for your show.
Thank you.
You know, ever since the start of the New Deal programs and the Great Society programs,
yes,
it seems that the success becomes being punished.
Yes, that's correct.
By higher taxes and such.
Initiative is punished.
Right. And failure seems to be rewarded.
Or if not, then commiserated with or excused by blaming, it's the same conversation.
Because liberal Democrat programs like this tell these people it's not your fault that you're a failure.
Yes.
So you think about it, then they develop these programs like the Goals 2000 for education.
Yes.
Which takes the heroes out of history and implants things like the Ku Klux Klan and all of this. So these people that are getting this money sit back and say, yeah, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. Well, then whose fault is it? That's what they think. And then they come up with, federal government starts pushing affirmative action programs. They're providing the answer right there for the people that are asking whose fault is it.
Well, we have, sir, thank you, extracted competitiveness. There was a day in America where competitiveness was admired, even encouraged. Today, we've replaced that with excuses of all manner for failure. And we'll even eliminate, finally, the word failure. I don't know what we'll replace it with, but there'll be some politically correct term that we'll come up with, I'm sure. Winning is not the thing. Playing the game is the thing. You played the game, so you're a winner. Well, that's not really true. Not in a world where, not in our world, I hope anyway, not in a world where you've got the kind of economy that we've got, freewheeling, market-oriented, success-driven. But see, we've begun to change all that from the very beginning in our educational system, in every walk and avenue of life. We've begun to replace that with a sort of, there's not a need to succeed. And even with some government regulation and law, we, including that of the IRS, we punish success. So if you want to know generally why I'm conservative politically, certainly economically, those are the reasons. That's just good old-fashioned solid logic, in my opinion. We've drifted from that, and in that drifting, our social attitudes have been replaced by the ones you hear on the air frequently. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Hi.
Howdy.
I'm calling from the Virgin Islands.
Well, good. Welcome to the program. Turn your radio off, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach it.
That would be WSTA, our affiliate in the Virgin Islands. Yes, sir.
I might be a little out of place, but Getting back to the Simpson case, the name of that restaurant was called the Messaluna.
Yes.
Do you know what a Messaluna is?
No.
Okay, a Messaluna is a bladed instrument used in cooking. It's a half moon with an L-shaped handle on top. Sharpened to a very, very extremely sharp edge.
Okay, how does that bear on anything?
Okay, the weapon. They're talking about a weapon. Perhaps maybe the victim was not Nicole. Perhaps they were actually looking to do something to this fella Ron.
Well, if it wasn't Nicole, then they better dig her up quick, because as far as I know, she's been buried.
No, I know. That's not what I'm saying. The victim maybe was not intended to be Nicole.
Well, that may be so. We'll never know, I guess.
I know, but the victim, the cutting and everything else, because I'm into forensics, and the way they said that was cut, the cutting and everything, I happened to look up what a...
Well, there was some interesting testimony, thank you, regarding single blade slashes versus dual blade slashes and all the rest of that sort of thing. But the legacy, aside from the civil trial going on now of the whole O.J. business, is going to settle into American history pretty much the way the killing of Kennedy has. There'll be a gazillion theories for 100 years, and nobody will ever know the truth. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. This is Roy from Wisconsin, but I'm in California right now.
All right.
I'm a truck driver. I'm calling about your new station in Cleveland you're going to be on.
3EEE.
I think you're just rechecked that it's 3WE.
3WE.
Excellent station. I've listened to it many times.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Where? I'm curious. Where do you manage to hear them? From where to where?
Oh, geez. 38 states about covers it. All over East Coast, Midwest, down into the South, down in Texas. I mean, it depends on the weather, but it's a real big area.
Well, that's wonderful. We're looking forward to being on there. It's 5 days and counting. They made me keep this secret for the longest time.
Well, it's kind of hard to pick you up in that area, so that'll be real nice having you there.
Right. We realize that it's going to fill in a lot of spots for us. The affiliates are coming on like crazy right now. The ratings are through the roof, and apparently, and I'm very thankful for it, people appreciate this slightly different brand of talk.
Well, I sure do. It's fantastic. Keeps me awake at night.
All right, my friend, thank you. And I want to say that I do appreciate it, folks. Those of you who have contributed to the very, very high ratings for, a very eclectic kind of show. So thank you. Thank you all. And to the stations that we are no doubt going to yet get. And I look forward to it on behalf of the network. Thank you. It's fun.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. Listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from May 22nd, 1996.
Dear Art, I can sympathize with Americans who are denied their freedom. I can sympathize with Americans who are denied their constitutional rights, but I cannot sympathize with common criminals who hide like cowards behind women and children while claiming their constitutional rights and liberties have been violated. Now is the time to get them out. Mike in Phoenix. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. This is Brian in St. Louis.
Hello, Brian.
I'd like to voice what I hate. I hate the fact that people who
Brian,
would
you turn off your radio for me, please?
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't hear it myself.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't like the fact that people keep saying that they'd like to see a white America come back. This was never a white America.
No, it wasn't.
If America would revert back to what it was 200 years ago,
yes,
I wouldn't be breathing toxic fumes. I'd be riding bareback on a horse over green grass.
Mm.
People don't seem to look into their history before they start to talk.
Well, you wouldn't have a automobile. You'd be in at best a cart, maybe with a horse pulling it. You wouldn't have any running water nor electricity. You wouldn't have any of the...
I wouldn't have DDT on my fruit.
That's true, too.
I wouldn't have poisons coming into my body every day from...
That's true.
All these things. So when people start talking about they hate this and they hate that, they need to go back to see why they're alive in the first place. If the story of Thanksgiving holds true, my ancestors helped the white people live through that first winter. There wouldn't be anybody here if it wasn't for that. The black people helped build this nation because they were slaves. They were forced to. There wouldn't be anything without black people. There wouldn't be anything without white people who built the ships to come over here in the first place. We all need each other. That's my point. We all still need each other, no matter what.
Your point is a very good one. How do you account for this growing time and energy spent by so many Americans in purity, blind hatred, this energy dispersed hating? How do you account for that?
It's a bandwagon that everybody likes to get on to feel important to themselves, to say, hey, yeah, I support that guy, I'm down with them, I want to be like them, because they're the most popular people right now.
All right. Well, thank you. I account for it in a different way. I think for the most part, this kind of hatred is born of inadequacy, paranoia, the need to blame one's failure on anybody else, collective as in the government, or specific as in a race, or, those damn Jews. Boy, if it wasn't for those Jew bankers, I'd be making a good salary now. If it wasn't for them blacks taking my jobs, I'd have a good job right now. But here I am sitting at home without a job. Them blacks, they took that job from me. Those Jews, those Hispanics flooding across, they took my job. They're the reason that I'm failing. Damn bankers, Federal Reserve, they're the reason I'm failing. They're the reason I can't pay my mortgage. By God, I've got a gun. You want to come repossess my house just because I decided I didn't want to make my mortgage payments? I'm going to put a bullet in your belly. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Oh, hello. Let me do the radio off thing.
That's good.
I didn't want to talk about the Freemen.
That's fine. You talk about anything you want.
Okay. I kind of want to try to argue with you on the legality of drugs a little bit. You see, I think all drugs are legal. And a couple of reasons I think so is that if I'm supposed to have the right to the pursuit of happiness, and in my pursuit for happiness, I find that drugs make me happy, then I think that I have the right to do drugs.
All right. If that is your premise, then anything at all that creates happiness for you, by extension of your argument, should be just fine and legal.
Well, no,
isn't that right?
It interferes with somebody else's right to their pursuit of happiness.
Oh. Well, then I guess I would argue that if your pursuit of happiness includes the use of drugs, and it doesn't make your wife happy, or your children happy, or your family happy, or your boss happy, or anybody else you interact with happy, and maybe even not safe, I don't know what kind of job you have. Maybe you drive a vehicle. Maybe you pilot an airplane. How happy do you want to be, sir?
Well, I don't really think my use of drugs actually interferes with anybody's safety because I use drugs rather wisely rather than
ignorantly because I know that they're dangerous. People use dynamite, and dynamite's dangerous if it's used improperly.
Very, very well said. Now, we don't allow just anybody to go buy dynamite, do we?
No.
Why don't we do that?
Because it's dangerous.
Because a lot of people would use it improperly, correct?
Sure.
Same deal with drugs, sir.
Another reason why I think drugs are legal, because if I don't have the liberty to use drugs, I don't have freedom. I don't think that's justice for all. I also can like to tell you one way I think that drugs could be legalized and safer for society than we have now, where drugs are just illegal. Okay, I'll try to do it. I think if people had a license to use drugs, where they applied for a license, if they demonstrated any antisocial behavior or dangerous use of the drug, why, then they could have their drug license revoked.
Their drug license.
And people who have drug licenses, who would like to use drugs, would cherish these things dearly and not interact with antisocial behavior and not not try to be dangerous to society. I think a lot of people would do that. I know not everybody would, but you could also take their license away.
So, kind of like 007, a license to be a druggie, right?
I don't know what 007 has to do
Well,
with
he had a license to kill.
License to kill, 007.
Yeah.
My use of drugs, the way I use drugs, I don't think, I've never harmed anybody. I don't have a victim.
Oh.
I don't steal. I do go to work. I do pay taxes. I don't know, like here, I'm in the KEX territory, and there used to be a park. It's called Washington Park, where people used to just go get stoned on pot. That's basically all that happened. They tried running everybody out, and the police even said that there's never been a vicious type crime ever committed there, so they try to tell all the people to go there and chase the drug users out. Well, if there's never been a vicious type crime there, then why not leave people alone?
Let me ask you a quick question about your license to use drugs.
Uh-huh.
Who would have a record of that?
The state or county or whomever, maybe federal government.
Federal government. To whom would this record be available?
To whoever, the federal government, let's say.
All right. Well, rather than my commenting on your idea, let's let the audience comment on it. What do you folks think of the idea of being licensed to be a druggie? Is that a good idea? Carry around a little card that identifies you as a licensed user of whatever, legalizing drugs in that manner, licensed by the federal government to be a drug addict. What do you think? Or a drug user. We won't even say addict. We'll just say user. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Going once. Gone. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Wanted to tell you something. It's about the chupacabra. A possible solution.
I feel some responsibility to help people with this. Say chupa.
Chupacabra.
Oh, you've got it. All right.
Okay. 20 years ago, I worked for the State Department, and my area of expertise was South America. And in researching, one of the projects I was going to work on was in Paraguay. And I remember reading some reports about the third generation of the Germans that were in Paraguay.
Yes.
The Mingalas and so forth.
Oh, yes.
And that there are quite a large population
they are
researchers and scientists were the industrialists of Germany with the outlook of Nazis supporting them. And one of the things that stood out in that report, and this was about 1974 or 5, was the mutation and cross-species work that they were doing. Now, it's not commonly known unless you're able to know this kind of thing. But I would suspect that it's very possible with, also like the guy said something about the mutation with the chemicals.
It's possible.
That this is coming from that area. And if it flies, it's very possible that it's gotten out of hand.
Oh, look, I think your guess is, thank you, as good as anybody's. She's absolutely right about a lot of Nazis having gone to South America. That's a well-known fact. And it could have been something like that. There are so many possibilities of where whatever this damn thing is came from, where it could have come from. I have no idea. But I think that it's real. They're now attributing about 2,000 animal attacks to chupacabra. 2,000. Now, even if you take 50 or 60% of those and attribute them to wolves or dogs or something, swamp gas, it's obvious there's clearly, with the eyewitness reports, there's some new creature out there. We have got a picture that might be that creature. I don't know. It was sent to me along with an explanation of the picture, and it's up on my webpage. As of the beginning of the show tonight, about 10,000 people had downloaded that photograph. 10,000 people in that short amount of time. That might be it, or this might not be it. Whatever it is, it's awful. But there's something out there. Now, that lady's explanation for what it might be is as good as anybody else's guess. But I do think something is out there. And you know what? It doesn't surprise me. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Art Dell.
Yes. No. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. And a wasted mind is a terrible thing to listen to. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hold on a second, I got to start off my radio.
Yes, you do. That's one of the first things to do, and have it close by so you can do it with dispatch.
All right, it's off.
All right, where are you, please?
I'm in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Murfreesboro, all right.
I'd like to comment about the gentleman who called up about his idea of legalizing drugs.
Licensing. Yes.
So he actually wants another form to have the government, I don't know, get more money from us.
Maybe we could call it license to shoot and snort.
Or something like that. It's
yeah.
And basically it's any drug, he seems to say. So
yes, indeed.
You get a license to do crack cocaine, and you beat up your wife and whatever. I guess you have a license, so it makes it all right.
Yeah. Maybe we could have people go to little courses, a crack course.
You have to go to school for it.
Know how to properly get yourself hooked.
Do you have to go to the DMV to get this, or will they come up with a whole new department to get your drug license?
That would be the DDA, Department of Drug Addiction.
and I'd also like to comment, because I've been listening to you for about a month now.
Yes, sir.
And you've been talking a lot about the Freemen.
Yes, sir.
And about what to do with them. I don't particularly know what we should do with them, but basically your idea of just shutting everything off, I feel that what happens to those kids and women that are in there, because it seems like they're all together on this. I'm sure that they could pretty much leave anytime they choose.
Well, no, there is not that indication. There's indication of the contrary, as a matter of fact. Bogarts, who went in, clearly said that he thought there were a number of people now being held against their will. State Senator Duke said there were at least 10 people who none of the negotiators, FBI, or the mediators, nobody's been able to see or talk to. Bogarts felt they were being held against their will.
So if everything goes down to it, people are going to die.
Well,
if they shut everything off and they still refuse to come out, and the government does,
then at some point, the law really is the law, and I don't think they can be allowed to flaunt it forever. I mean, the FBI has been bending over backwards so far, but at some point, they're going to have to say, look, you're now getting an ultimatum. Please send out the women, the children. Please give yourself up. We don't want this to end violently, but at some point, one which we're not going to telegraph to you, there's going to be a dynamic entry We're going to treat it as a hostage situation. We're going to try and protect the women and children, but we are going to take you into custody one way or the other. This is an ultimatum.
Okay, well, I also heard or read in the paper here in Tennessee that there are some militia groups that have stated that if the government goes in by force, then they will also come in by force.
I know. They damn well better think it over real hard. And
so, I mean, this could turn out to be an all-out battle here.
I know it. That's how dangerous it is. You're absolutely right. That's why I'm going out of my way again and again and again to try to get these groups that would rush in with guns to think real hard and understand what it is they're ready to lay their life down for before they lay it down.
And I think it goes the other way around also. I think the government should also understand that they're not only going in and probably fighting these Freemen, they're also fighting these half-crazed militia groups that are...
The government is well aware of that.
And it could get messy.
Thank you very much for the call, sir.
I
do appreciate your call. You're exactly right. Of course it could. That's one of the reasons so much time is being spent on this. With some good cause, the militias and the people that have decided to be the watchdogs, as is properly the case of our government, they better look into this. They better know. They better talk to the people that would normally be on the side of people like this. If there was one scintilla of good reason to be. People like Greitz, people like Duke, people like that, who have clearly stated these are not patriots. These are not militia. These are people hiding behind not only women and children, but hiding behind a movement and making claims designed to appeal to a movement that, if successful, is going to result in a U.S. Civil War. And then, trust me on this, everybody loses. This is not one of those times where a little rebellion or a little civil war is good for the Republic. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, sorry. Terry from Illinois. I pick you up on KSD out of St. Louis.
Oh, the mighty one, 550. Yes, sir.
Okay. No, I just want to comment. I only got a minute here. I know that. The way you just explained it to the other caller prior to myself, I agree with you 100%. And Charles definitely showed his mentality again by putting his foot in his mouth by saying bringing the military in there.
Yeah.
And without any thought of the kids, as you made mention of, it's okay if we kill the kids, but not the federal people. And the only thing that's lacking tonight, if you can squeeze it in 30 seconds, is to have the other Charles' counterpart, Elizabeth, call in. Aside from that, I don't think either one of them has much credibility from the way they've been talking the last month and a half. But you have yourself a great night, and good night, America.
That's the way to do it. See, there's a caller who knows exactly how to do it. Wrapped it up, got his good night, America in, and indeed, it was the last call. That's it, everybody. From the high desert, good night.
Thank you for tuning in to Archive Obscura. Please like and subscribe.